The part of visualization that's been slowing you down is not the rendering. It's everything in between. The hour you spend placing vegetation one by one, the afternoon you lose just searching for the right material, the constant back and forth between SketchUp, Illustrator, and Photoshop, switching tools, losing context, losing momentum. So I've been completely rebuilding my ArcViz process using the AI tools inside of D5, and what I found was kind of unexpected, because I always assumed AI in visualization was about better images, nicer renders, more realism, but that's not actually what's happening here. There's a version of your workflow where AI helps you at the end. You design, you model, you render, and then AI does something to the final image, or at least that's how some people are using it. And then there's a version where AI is present at every single stage of the process, not replacing the design decisions, but replacing the parts that were honestly never really designed to begin with. And that second version, that's what we're building today. So I'm going to walk you through 5 stages: ideation, scene building, materials, atmosphere, and post-production. And at each one, I'll show you exactly where AI steps in, what it replaces, and why that actually matters. Let's make this better. Let's go. Okay, so at the very start of a project, everything is still kind of abstract, right? You're making decisions about form, massing, scale, and you're doing all of that without actually seeing any of it while it's happening, which means you're kind of designing in your head, and designing in your head has, of course, a ceiling. So the question is, how do you bring AI into this stage without removing the design process? Because that's the part that we actually care about as architects. So here's how. For ideation, I'm using D5 Lite, which is D5's plugin inside of SketchUp. No exporting, no breaking your train of thought. Everything happens right inside your modeling environment. Quick note, D5 is working on releasing this for Rhino and other platforms too, so stay tuned for that. And inside of D5 Lite, you've got 2 modes, render mode and AI mode. For now, we're going to stay in AI mode. So I adjust the camera to the view I want to explore. I click capture, then I go to the style presets and select based on the function and context of the project. In this case, I'll select countryside and rural house. And if I want, I can go into the prompt and add more details like the materiality, the mood, the key ideas, whatever is relevant at this stage. Now, here's the setting that actually matters: the structure weight slider. And since I'm still in brainstorming mode, I drag it left. This gives me more creative, more varied results. I want the AI to surprise me a little here, but not just reflect exactly what I've modeled. Now I click on generate, wait for a minute or two, and that's actually the shift. You're not imagining ideas anymore, you're reacting to them in real time. So you model, you generate, you adjust, and then you go back to modeling. The AI becomes like a sketching partner that gives you visual feedback while you're still inside of the 3D model. And one tip here, once you've refined your model based on what the AI showed you, go back into D5 Lite and drag the slider all the way to the right this time. Now your geometry stays accurate and the AI focuses on materiality and mood instead of form. 2 completely different types of feedback, same tool, same moment in the process. And here's something I think is really useful. Save your favorites from D5 Lite because those images aren't just for inspiration. You can upload them directly into D5 Render where the AI agent will use them as a reference, adjusting the scene's atmosphere, lighting, and vegetation to match. So D5 Lite and D5 Render are not 2 separate things, they're actually feeding into each other. This is where most of your time disappears. You're not designing anymore. You're just placing things, one by one, finding the right tree in the library, placing it, adjusting the scale, moving on. And look, I'm going to be honest, parts of this process are genuinely fun, but it has nothing to do with design and it takes forever sometimes. So instead of doing all of it manually, I use the AI agent inside of D5 Render to build the base for me. I tell it where the project is located, what type of vegetation I'm looking for, and before it does anything, it actually shows me the asset list it's planning to make, which I appreciate because I can review it. It makes sure it makes sense, and then I select the scatter area and then I hit on generate. Now this is how the scatter looks. I also spent a few more minutes adding more scatters for the foreground and background of my project, and this is how they all look like together. Now remember, we said that D5 light images were going to come in handy. Well, you can start using them with the AI agent. You can either use your images for the AI scene match, which we will talk about later, or you can also use them in the AI asset recommendation, which is so cool because it literally recommends you assets from the library that the D5 AI has identified in your reference image. So for example, if we import our image as reference and hit enter, we're going to see all of the recommended assets. So things like trees, rocks, bushes, people, you name it. And this way I can start importing different things into my project without having to go through the hassle of going through the whole library, which is pretty cool. Now I have my base and now it's done. Now you can obviously still do this manually if you need more precise control over placement, but starting from something instead of nothing, that changes the whole energy of the session. It's the difference between editing and building from scratch. Quick tip here, the AI agent is not here to make the final decision. It's there to get you to the starting point faster. Now the other tool worth showing here is the AI model generation. For this project, I wanted a specific piece as the focal point in the living room, and I didn't want to model it from scratch. So I grabbed a reference image, this one right here. I pasted it into the 3D model generation tool, waited a bit, and in a matter of minutes, I had a usable 3D model ready to import directly into the scene. Again, AI is doing the part that slows you down so you can focus on the part that actually matters. Okay, now materials. This one gets me every time because yes, the right material selection is genuinely the difference between a good image and a great one. But finding the right material, this can cost you so many hours scrolling through libraries, adjusting values, trying to match something you saw in a reference photo, and you still quite can't get there. So here's what I do now. I find a reference image, usually 2 or 3 just in case I need more variations of this. Then I open the AI material snap feature in D5 render. I import the reference. I select the area with the material that I want and hit generate. And here it's doing 2 things at once. First, it's creating the material, which as you can see, it looks really good. And second, and this is the part that I actually love, it's telling you, hey Steven, we already have some of these materials that look like what you want in our library. Here are some that you can use. So you're not limited by what you can find anymore. You're limited by what you can see, and a good reference image is everywhere. Quick tip here, there are 3 more AI material tools that most people skip right past. So the first one is the Ultra HD texture. It just takes a low res material and makes it high res without ever leaving D5. Then you have Make Seamless, which one click, it just fixes the tiling and it has a seamless image very quickly. And third, the AI generated texture maps. It generates your normal displacement and roughness maps automatically. Now, none of these are dramatic on their own, but together they cut the material phase down significantly. Now, this is where things start to change. So if materials are the most time-consuming part, atmosphere is the most frustrating. You know what you want the image to feel like, but getting there, tweaking the sun, adjusting the exposure, changing the sky, going back again, tweaking it back again, it's death by 1,000 small decisions. And here's the thing, most people don't struggle with the tools, they struggle with direction. They don't know exactly what they're aiming for, so every adjustment just feels like guessing. But here the fix is very simple, but most people skip this part. The fix is start with a reference image. Find something that feels like what you want your final image to feel like. It doesn't have to be architecture, it could be a film still, a photo, anything. Then you open the AI atmosphere match tool, create a snapshot, import the reference, and click on generate. And this is the mood that our image has now. It's not going to be perfect right away. You'll still adjust the sun position, the exposure, the contrast a little bit, but it gets you directional in seconds instead of minutes. And once you have direction, every small adjustment has a target. Okay, now we've rendered our image, now what? So normally you would export, you would open Photoshop, import the file, make some adjustments, go back to D5, re-render, and go back to Photoshop again. You know the loop, and the more you switch tools, the more you lose the thread of what you were actually trying to do. So now all of it stays inside of D5. So first, texture enhancement. I enhance materials like concrete and wood to get surface detail that the render alone doesn't always capture. Then AI in painting to refine people in entourage elements and make them feel more realistic in context. And then if I want to explore a completely different mood without rebuilding the whole scene, style transfer. Here it's the same scene, but it's different feeling and we didn't have to rebuild anything. So here's what I actually learned from rebuilding this whole workflow. None of these tools are revolutionary on their own. Individually, AI vegetation placement, material matching, atmosphere generation, they're pretty good features. They're useful for sure, but they're not changing anything by themselves. What changes things is when you look at the full picture. When every single stage gets faster, not by a little, but consistently, something shifts. You start making more decisions, you start exploring more directions, you stop losing afternoons to tasks that were never really designed to begin with. And if you think about what architects actually need from a visualization workflow, it comes down to three things. Inspiration to explore ideas before they're fully formed, control to execute them precisely when they are, and integration so none of that happens in isolation. So every tool, every stage, every decision is connected. And that's what's interesting about D5 is that the AI features map directly onto those three things. D5 Lite for inspiration, Material Snap, and the AI agent for control, and the whole workflow Light feeding into render, post-production staying in one place for integration. If you want to try D5 out for yourself, as always, the link will be in the description. You can start completely for free. I'm thinking about putting together a full D5 course. If that's something that you would actually use, let me know in the comments what you wanted to cover. I do read those comments and I would love to know your ideas. In the next videos, we will dive deeper into this project, the renders, the videos, and how I specifically created them. What was the thought process behind it? So yeah, if you like this video, I really think you're gonna like the next videos on this project. That's all I've got for this one. Now go make it better.